homework, because a lot of the times, especially when you're dealing with a generational gap, homework can be confusing. Because back in the day, homework to us is more or less a whole different ballgame. Now, I even remember times when I was given homework thinking, why? What's the point of this? So, in order for parents to understand the whys, we're going to go through some of this stuff. So, the first question is always, what are your existing beliefs about homework? Thinking about what you do with your kids today, thinking about what you did when you were a child. What are your ideas about homework? Just throw them out. Don't all jump up at once. Go ahead, Cindy.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle. It's supposed to be. Absolutely. What she said?
That's what I was, yeah.
Okay. Here's some of the other ones that we hear a lot that are maybe not always positive. Parents expect teachers to assign homework. Like when my kid, my kid goes to school here. When they don't come home with homework, I start to go, why not? We expect homework, and we believe it's a mark of good schooling. We don't know if that's necessarily true or not. These are just some of the things that we hear a lot of parents say. Students do not like to do homework. That's actually, you're going to find out, not as true as we may think it is. The value of homework is genuinely unclear, and the research on the effects of homework is relatively scarce. That's kind of the whole what's the point type of concept, and that's absolutely false. And we'll go through some of that earlier too. For all parties involved in schooling, homework has been controversial, is so now, and will continue to be so in the future. It's one of those gray areas. It's one of those gray areas whenever we get into home schooling, working the child at home. And then one thing I want you to think about whenever it comes to instruction and achievement, there's only one way, plain and simple, there's only one way you can raise achievement, and that's better instruction and more instruction. And that's one of the main things about homework, because when it comes to that more instruction part of it, we only have your kids for 6.5 hours a day. So the only place we're going to get more is if we extend it into the home. So what is homework? What do we call this homework thing? It's a task that's done at home that provides an opportunity for children to learn and for the families to be involved in their learning. So yes, this is supposed to be a team effort. The whole sentence, it takes a village. That's the village. And if they're just here, then we're missing a huge portion of that, which is you at home. So it's a task that's done at home. And that's why a lot of times I really try to push our teachers, don't give them homework and then say you have time in class to do it, because that defeats the purpose of it being the home work. Okay, go ahead. There's really 3 types of homework that you're going to see come home. One is practice. It's mostly repetitive in nature. It's assignments that were done in school. This type of assignment is mostly associated with drill and reinforcement. You'll see a lot of math, you get practice. Now that's very common, because once you do it, in order to get it to go into that long-term memory and to be automated, we need to drill and drill and drill. And that's something that's really good to do at home, because then we're not sinking a whole lot of time into it here, and we could go on to those other topics, other areas of the math. So it's that drill and repetition. That's one type of homework you should see coming home. Another type, preparation. This is preparing for instruction. This is very much like that flipped classroom we were talking about, where they're doing a lot of the instruction at home and the practices coming to the school. That preparation homework is another type of homework you should be seeing coming home. It's developed to allow students to prepare for whatever's going to be coming up at that day in the classroom. Reading over material to be discussed in class would be like an example of what that would be in terms of a preparation assignment. Then the third one is an extension. This goes beyond the classroom presentation and presents opportunities for some differentiation, some choice, project-driven homework assignments. Is this extension of class? It takes it a little above and beyond. A lot of enrichment kids would enjoy this type of extension homework assignments. So those are your types of homework that you should see coming home. Beyond that, it may be a little bit fuzzy, but those are the 3 that you really want to see. And when you get home and your child's doing homework, you can even categorize them. Is this something they're preparing for coming up? A lot of times reading assignments. Read chapters 5 through 8. We'll discuss it tomorrow. We hear that assignment a lot. That would be a preparation assignment. We've just done this math assignment, go home and do 20 of them. That's a practice assignment. Here was the overarching concept. Now I want you to go home and do a project with it. That would be an extension. Okay? So why do teachers give homework? which is a critical thing for us to know as parents, because we want to be able to appreciate why we're doing this, as well as to help the kids understand why they're doing it. And this is someone to review and practice what they've learned, prepare for next day's assignment, use resources such as libraries, reference materials, giving them that opportunity, and investigate topics more fully than time allows in a classroom. That'd be your extension. So how much homework? This is a question we get a lot of times. How much homework? And again, being a parent, even I sit there and I go, feels like a lot of homework, you know? But this is the reality. And this is from the National Education Association. Kindergarten through second grade should really have 10 to 20 minutes a day. It's about 10 minutes per grade level. So third through sixth should be anywhere from 30 in the third grade range through 60 in the sixth grade range. That is, hi, come on in. No, that's no problem. That is amount given. That's not necessarily how long it would take. That's the amount given. Junior and senior highs, the homework will vary more so by subject, because you may have more going on if you're writing papers and assignments like that in the high school. That K to 2, 3 through 6 is good for that grade level. Beyond that, it gets a lot more varied, because then you also have honors classes and AP classes and things like that as well. Ask your principal if your school or school district has a homework policy. If it does, make sure your children know about it. The homework policy would be approximations of how much time. You know, our policy talks about how much that homework also falls into your grade, which I think is 10%. So because it's important to be graded, it's important to have that information, you know, to you and to the child in terms of, you know, getting something for their work, but it's not necessarily indicative of their knowledge of the skills. Real quick, name?
I'm Jill Halfhill, Joanna Halfhill, and Jacob Halfhill.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome. So anyways, you missed hardly anything. We can even review some of that at the end for you too. But anyway, so that's the type of policy that we have in our district is how much it's going to be in terms of a weighted grade. Does homework impact achievement? This is right from ERIC's National Parental Information Network, and the ERIC's is one of our larger data houses that do a lot of this research for us. So, you know, in an educator's world, if they say it, chances are it's pretty accurate. High school students who receive school-assigned homework perform 69% better on standardized tests and have higher grades than students who don't. That's pretty telling. I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement. We're saying, if you do your homework, you're going to do 69% better. That to me, that's huge. And that's because there's only two ways to raise achievement. Like a standardized test, there's only two ways: better instruction and more instruction. Just by getting the more, not necessarily the better, but just by getting the more, 69% better. That's pretty impressive. Junior high students who receive homework perform 35% better. Elementary, it's about the same, which is kind of interesting too. That does not mean elementary students should have no homework, only that grades or results of standardized tests don't measure the benefits of the homework. We don't have as many standardized tests down here. We don't have SATs and all that kind of thing down here to really equate that. And at our level, we're what's called skills-based. You know, we need to teach you how to do the 2+2s and the 3+3s. When you get up into high school, they're doing all that abstract thinking and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of a different example. There's some additional studies too. The Associate Professor of Economics at the University of California, students who did an extra 30 minutes of nightly math homework beginning in 7th grade increased their achievement score the equivalent of 2 grade levels by the time they were in 11th grade.
What does that mean exactly?
Okay. When they started in 7th grade, they started doing an additional 30 minutes of work on their own.
Right.
By the time they reached 11th grade, they were already in first-year college math. 2 grade levels, 12th
Gotcha.
grade, freshman in college. So probably by the time they reached 11th grade, they were probably already doing like a calculus course or whatever would be after that.
That's just their achievement score, so.
Their achievement scores, right? It's equivalent of 2 grade levels. So they're achieving like a freshman in college in 11th grade.
Okay.
Right. So they're doing that real heavy duty stuff, and that's increasing 30 minutes. That's doing their own little bit of 30-minute time. Can my child do homework while listening to music or watching television? That's a question that I get a lot when it comes to this as well. And really, at the end of the day, don't try to force it one direction or the other. Hi, come on in.
Hi, I was just coming to see if you had any handouts or anything.
You know what? Everything's going to be on the web. As soon as we get the Parent Academy site up, it's going to be sparksd.org. We're hoping /Parent Academy.
Okay.
And we'll have our video cast there. The PowerPoints will be there, and the handouts will be there.
Okay. I'll sit for a few minutes. I have somebody to pick up.
Sure, no problem. If you want to sign your name and email, you can get on our list, and we'll let you know when all those things are coming up and happening and so forth. So where were we? Watching music. It's really going to depend upon the child. I happen to know somebody who is very auditory. The child is extremely auditory. So if you put music on, that could do one of two extremes. That could totally divert their attention if they're trying to learn something that's visual at the time, because their auditory is going to take over. But on the other hand, if they're auditory and you turn on a song that happens to also be, for example, elementary people, sorry, we're elementary people here, but ABCDs, you turn on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and it's going to link on like that. And I did that with some of you. Let me show you the power of music. I think it's actually coming up later as well. We'll do it again. No, we'll wait. I'm sorry. We'll wait. Television is one of those things where it's also the visual auditory, but you got both going on with TV. I know a lot of people that they can have music on and be able to be fine and do what they have to do. TV, since it's both visual and auditory, it kind of locks down both of those, so that does cause more of a problem. Auditory, it's going to depend upon the child, and if the child is okay with it, it's kind of like ride the horse in the direction it's running. If the child's okay with it and they're getting their work done and everything's fine, why fight it? Why fight it? Because they're going to be okay. Television, on the other hand, the research out there says that could be a little more dangerous. So we talk about home organization, and this is where you guys have to come in as parents, and it's all about tough love. And if you come to any of these other sessions that I'm doing, I talk a lot about tough love, and I'm probably the biggest wimp when it comes to my children. But on the other hand, I've also learned that tough love is what they need now, and in the long run, it's going to be amazing for them. You have to understand that you are the boss of your house. So if you say to the child, look, you're going to work 30 minutes a day, and they don't do it, that's not an option. Just like out here on our wall, we have those non-negotiable rules and non-negotiable words, academic stuff. We're trying to get the kids to understand that some things are just not negotiable. Some things are just not an option because you're the child and we're the adult. And since we're the adult, we have to be able to say to them, if you like it or not, I'm the adult, I know what's best for you, and this is what we're going to have to do. Okay? So let's talk about a few of these home organization things. And you can think in the back of your mind, do you have these things set up already in place for your home? And if not, how can you do it? What kind of things do you think about? And please, feel free to interrupt any time, and we can answer questions. Choose a place to do homework free from distractions and provide all the necessary materials. That's a tricky one. That's trickier than you think. It actually took my wife and I some time to figure out where that location was going to be, because we also have a 4-year-old who was like a tornado through the house. So, we got it to the point, it took some trial and error, we got some time where it got into a routine. You have to do something 28 days in order for it to become a routine. Did you know that? If you do it for 5, 6, 7, 8, doesn't mean anything yet. Get them to do it 28 days in a row and you've established a routine. So with that in mind, we end up using our kitchen, and Luke is allowed to, he does his work in the kitchen. We have a drawer in our kitchen that has all his materials, rulers, children's scissors, colored pencils, pens, you name it, it's all in there. So he really doesn't ever have to go searching for anything. And at that time, which I'll talk about time here in a minute, the little one gets entertained by us in a different room. So he has his time to get his work done. That's really important, and it's probably one of the easiest things to overlook, because especially those people that have big households like 3, 4, and 5 kids. I mean, trying to keep them all in different areas and making sure they're all doing their work here, there, and the other. I mean, if you're not an octopus with 8 arms, it's probably fairly hard to do. I mean, I have 2 and I stumble sometimes. I can't imagine more. But it's one of those things, but you just have to start the routine. We talk about with our teachers all the time. We call them procedures. Set up your procedures. When the kids walk in, they have a bell ringer, they start doing their work, they turn it in, we do the morning announcements. After the morning announcements, but they know we automatically go into reading, so get your reading book out. It becomes a routine for them. You need to do that same type of thing. You need to establish a routine. In your house, what time do you have set aside for your kids to do their homework? Should it be right as soon as they get home? Possibly. Right before dinner? Right after dinner? You've got to decide what's best for you. And you've got to decide what's best for your child, because like when my boy comes home, he's still 90 miles an hour. So it's better for me to just throw that half hour, 45 minutes in right as soon as he gets home, so that then he knows he's got the rest of the night to himself. Now me, when I was in school, I was just the opposite. When I got home, I was dead tired. I wanted to get something to eat. I wanted to watch TV for a little bit. So my homework time was right after dinner. And right after dinner, we clean up the table, and there was my time to do what I had to do. But you have to establish that time frame, and you cannot deviate. You've got to just get it in their heads. It's just like a piano lesson once a week or basketball practice once a week. You've got your homework, and it's daily, and it's going to be at this time every single day. Let me ask you a question. If you don't have any homework that day, what do we do with that 45-minute block? Suggestions, ideas, thoughts?
AR book reading.
Excellent. AR book reading. Anybody else? Do we give them downtime? Do we say you don't have homework that today, you don't have to do anything?
No.
No. That's probably the worst thing to do, and here's why. First of all, you've broken the routine, and that's what causes the first problem. You've broken a routine. And once the kids get into the routine, as soon as you don't do it, then all of a sudden you have to start over again, really with that 28-day time frame again. Because once it's in a routine, you don't want to stop it. Second of all, you always have homework. I promise you, and if you think about it, you're going to agree with me, you will always have homework every single day for your entire life. Probably right now, each one of us had homework we had to do tonight. There was something that we have to do on a daily basis every day of our lives. Be it something that we had to bring home from our job. I've got my homework. I'm doing it right now. Here I am. Here's my homework for tonight. So we all have that. When you're in college, you may not have homework per se, write something down and turn it in, but there's always something that needs to be studied, right? AR is a perfect example. Read a book. But don't just say, okay, you don't have homework, you now have 45 minutes of you can play video games. Or you can go play with your brothers or play with your friends. Because you know what that does? That immediately puts into their mind, if I tell mom and dad I don't have homework, I'm going to have a really fun 45 minutes now. Or I'm going to rush and get it done really fast because I know for the next half hour, if I get it done in 15 minutes, I can go play.
I'm sorry. Do you know where they went?
No, why?
Because I'm sending mine home to do their homework.
Hey, if you didn't catch that on the
haven't been
video
home yet tonight.
cast, she's sending them home to do their homework.
We haven't been
That's
home
good.
yet.
I just saw them right over there.
Sorry.
That's okay. You've already heard this before, so you're good to go. But yeah, so that 45 minutes is so important to keep the routine going. If you have to, by all means.
I do have an idea. I don't know if it's in your
Sure.
podcast for later, but when kids are permitted to have other activities instead of homework, that's just crazy. They just need to know you're not going to get to play video games if you don't do your homework. And I
Absolutely.
think that is so important that
Well, good.
parents just need to take the controllers.
It's that
away.
tough love. It's that
And
tough
if
love.
you're not home when they're supposed to be doing the homework, you take the controllers and you put it in the car with you when you leave.
Right.
And you take the brother's controller
Yeah.
too. Because they will
Yeah,
get
absolutely,
the brother's controller.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll look at that online. Thank you.
Thank you.
But what do you say to keep that routine? Because a lot of times I do let my daughter and son, if they say no homework, I'm like, well, okay, it's just, I don't really make them do much. So, they know, the teachers tell them, no homework.
Right.
And they come home to me and say, no homework.
Right.
And she has her separate, they all have their separate AR reading time.
Sure.
During the
Right. And what I would
evening.
suggest is have a school at your house. If you've got extra books, have them read.
Yeah.
If you like to cook, cooking is an absolutely
Well, that's
fantastic
what I
time.
usually make them do is help me prepare for dinner,
We-
because that's what I'm doing when they're doing their homework.
Right, but you know what? While you're preparing dinner, and that's okay, but make sure you're making them measure everything.
Yeah.
Make sure you start saying, well, if we need 2 half cups of this,
Yeah, that's
couldn't we just use something else?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we use a whole
yeah,
cup.
That's true. Yeah. I
Use
guess
measurement.
I do
Absolutely.
have to do that, yeah.
Have them pull out rulers and measure a loaf of bread. As long as you keep their minds into whatever school's going on at that time, you can do anything. It can be fun,
Yeah.
but it has to be up here. It has to be constant. Video games, It's not going
Right,
to work.
it's gotta be
Right,
interaction,
right.
yeah.
You know, going out and playing sports, although it's great and it's healthy, they need that 45, 30, whatever it would be
Keep
for
the
each person
routine, yeah.
to keep that
Keep it
routine,
up.
to keep that routine going. Absolutely. If students are using computers, parents need to supervise. I'm a little bit of a techie geek, so I love that stuff. But this to me is so important, not only for the academic side of things, and there's a lot of good stuff out there where they can be doing, but there's a lot of danger out there too. And we're actually, I think it's the second to last week of our Parent Academy. The Attorney General's coming in to talk about cyberbullying and cyber awareness and all that type of stuff. It's going to be an excellent program. But he's going to talk about how to lock down your computers so that the kids can't get around and go to sites maybe they're not supposed to. I would suggest making a home page that has certain bookmarks of things that they're allowed to use, which is, we call it edutainment. They're entertaining, but they're learning something. Leapfrogs and all those type of things. Sprouts have a lot of good things that talk about. This is for all elementary, but they have a lot of good things like that. Place homework in the same place each evening for easy access. We call that X marks the spot. Ours happens to be as soon as we walk in our living room on the left-hand side, the dog's cage is on the right, and my boy's book bag goes on the left. He knows that, we know that. There isn't any question about where's this, where's that, how did you lose it, is it packed, is it not packed? All that goes out the door, because when I walk in the door, if I want to see it, it's right there. I open it up, I can see what's inside of it. And yes, it is my responsibility as the parent to look inside of it. I can't expect an elementary, even a middle school kid for that matter, to hand it to me and say, hey, you want to see what's inside? They're not going to do that. It's my responsibility as the adult. I'm the adult, they're the child. We've got to remember those roles. I go and I grab it. I look at it. I say to my son, homework? Yes, no. If it's yes, he does it. If it's no, he does something else that's going to be academic regardless. And he's gotten to the point now where he enjoys it and he just knows it and it's expected. There's no question. At the end, when he's done, he also knows that we check it. I put it back in the book bag, and it's his responsibility to put it back on that X. So that in the morning, which I know many of us, myself included, mornings can be rough. We don't want to have to go running all over the place looking for book bags or looking for books that never made it into the book bags or handouts that are over 3 rooms away. It's all there, and it all goes in there. Kids are going to make mistakes. If they make a mistake, we'll deal with that. But if it becomes a routine mistake, then we've got to fix the issue. Go ahead. So here are some homework tips for parents. If you're in the middle of a presentation, make sure you send your kids home to do homework right now.
They didn't listen to me either. Only one left.
General homework tips for parents. Make sure your child has a quiet, well-lit space to do their homework. That's kind of a no-brainer. Make sure the materials your child needs, such as paper, pencils, dictionary, are available. Go, especially in the summertime when you go to Office Depot and Max and all those places, you can buy probably everything your kid's going to need for the year for probably $20. They get those little crayons for like 3 cents. You can pile up on that stuff and pick a drawer, and that's the school drawer. Help your child with time management. Establish a set time each day for doing the homework. Don't deviate. Be positive about homework. One thing that's really challenging from a school point of view is when the kids come back to school and they say, my parents said this homework assignment was stupid, I didn't have to do it. Well, that becomes a problem because we're a team. We're a team. And as soon as the child knows, I love children, I'm in education, but let's face it, you give them an inch, they're taking a mile. And at the end of the day, if you give them that wedge between you, the parent, and us, the school, you give them a wedge, they're going to run with it. And they're going to manipulate you, and the chances are they're going to manipulate us. And then somehow we end up on the phone with each other discussing why it's not a bad homework assignment, or why maybe it wasn't the best homework assignment, but maybe still something that would have been okay to do. And then all of a sudden, look, we're having this conversation, and the kid's probably out playing video games. Or outside running around, whenever the whole thing is kind of falling apart. And I would suggest, if you do have a problem with homework assignment, it's okay to have a problem with a homework assignment. I would say do it and then call the principal the next day or the teacher and have a conversation. Communication would fix probably 80% of school's problems a lot of the time. Just to have that open, continual communication. And it's hard to do, but again, it's that tough love, we need to keep it going. When your child does homework, you do homework. Ooh, that's a tough one, isn't it? Ooh,
Really?
is that a hard one for parents to swallow? That's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Modeling, all those type of terms. This is critical. You know, when it's time for the child to do homework, if they're doing math, take the time and balance your checkbook. Take the time and do some math-oriented things. Because you know what that's going to do? When that child's sitting there going, why in the world am I doing this? They're going to look up at you and they go, oh, that's why I'm doing this. Because someday I'm going to have to do what Daddy's doing right now. And it just links, it just clicks for them. You know, if they're doing a reading assignment, read. Get a book, read a magazine. Read a journal, read something. Let them realize that, yeah, it's important for them to be doing a reading assignment because, look, mom and dad are over there doing the exact same thing. Those are hard things to do sometimes because we're in routines, but 28 days from today, we could all be doing these things. When your child asks for help, provide guidance, not answers. This is very hard to do, but probably one of the most important. You know, when a child says, I can't do this, first of all, don't ever accept the word I can't. Say, I'm having trouble, I'm struggling, I need your help, all good answers. Never let them say can't, because everybody can. It's a matter of how hard you're going to work to get to that point. Don't give them answers. We're not grading you, we're grading them. And it's kind of funny because it reminds me of, Pinewood Derby. My son's in Boy Scouts, and I know some of you guys are too. And we have the Pinewood Derby cars, and you see like 50, 60 cars that show up on race day, and I can't see a third or fourth grader that could have even made half of those things with band saws and weights. I mean, it's definitely a dad's experience with some kids' help here and there. But overall, that's okay. This probably isn't. This is when we want to be able to guide them and let them follow the instruction. And here, especially here at the elementary school, we see a lot of posters, things come in that had some obvious parental touches here and there. And again, that's okay too, but make sure that the kids are doing the work. You're not going to do them any favors by giving them answers. Because at the end of the day, and I don't want to get on a soapbox about report cards in elementary schools, but I'm not a huge fan of a letter grade because of this type of thing. Getting an A, B, or a C on a report card doesn't tell me what my kid knows in terms of skills. Now, this isn't middle school and high school. This is us here at the elementary center. But I want to know skills. And this, if a parent's doing the work and not necessarily just guiding them to get to the right answer, then I'm not checking that child's skills. We're ultimately checking the parent's skills. So we certainly want to watch out for that as well. This is one that's kind of funny. I ran into this little quote here. It says, Mom, the teacher said you should stop doing my homework. Well, how did he know I did it? Maybe it was the part that said, I remember 1958. And you get that sometimes. Here are some more homework tips. When the teacher asks that you play a role in the homework, do it. So there may be times when the teacher says, get mom and dad to help you on this. That's okay, then that's what we want. If homework is meant to be done by your child alone, stay away. And when we say stay away, we mean be in another room. Don't be hovering right over them. Let them do it. Let them be independent. It's okay in elementary school to be independent. And when they get a little older and older and higher up in the middle school and high school, they're going to be ready for it because we've already showed them at a very early age that it's okay to be independent. If they have a problem, they can find you. But don't be there. Don't be right over their shoulder the whole time. Let them seek you out. Let them struggle a little bit. It's okay to struggle. It's that whole butterfly thing, when they're in the cocoon, if they don't struggle to get out of that cocoon, they die. You can't, as a human, cut open the cocoon and say, oh, here, let me help you. Because that, you know that? You know what I'm talking about? They actually have to squeeze their bodies out, and it looks like such a struggle when you're watching it, but it actually pushes all the fluids out of their body as they're struggling through that cocoon. If we as a human come and open that cocoon and try to help them, the butterfly dies in 3 days. So that's what we're talking about. They have to struggle. It's okay and it's healthy to let them struggle. And as parents, we don't ever want to think our children struggling at anything, and that's where the conflict comes in, and that's where the tough love comes in. That's where we have to say, I love you, and that's why I'm going to let you struggle a little bit, to try to figure it out. Stay informed. Make sure you know the purpose of homework and what your child's class rules are. And certainly, communication. We just talked about that a minute ago. Communication with your teacher is just critical. It is just so important to be able to do that. And always start with your teacher. Don't, being the principal, don't call me, call them. No. Call your teacher. If there's a problem, then you do need to take it to the next level. Call your principal. You need to get that communication set up, and if there's a broken link somewhere, keep going up until you get to what you need. Because at the end of the day, yes, you are your child's advocate. Always will be. Help your child figure out what is hard homework and what is easy homework. Have your child do the hard work first. This will mean he will be most alert when facing the biggest challenges. Easy material will seem to go fast when fatigue begins to set in. So if you start and you say, okay, just whip through the easy stuff first, well, it's still draining. It's still tiring on the mind. By the time you get to the hard stuff, they could very well be spent. So get the hard stuff out of the way first, because the easier stuff, they won't need as much as that motor chugging up there to get through that stuff. So, help them figure out what's hard, what's easy, what should I do first, what should I do second. On a side note, while I remember this goes back to some brain research. I don't want to give you the impression that if a child has an hour worth of homework, they sit there for an hour and do their homework. Every 15 minutes, the child needs a break. Okay, when I say a break, I mean 2-3 minutes. Get up, go get a drink, walk around a little bit, get the brain moving again, get the legs moving again, and then they can go back and do their work. Don't try to make them do 30, 45, 50, 60 minutes in one stretch, because that will burn them out very quickly. Give them that time in between. Watch your child for signs of failure and frustration. Let your child take a short break if she is having trouble keeping his or her mind on the assignment. Reward progress in homework. How many people here ever have some sort of reward system at home for if they do homework? It's okay to do that. Now, I'm not saying pay them. That wouldn't work. But even some intrinsic awards, like a pat on the back, a little hug, anything like that just says, wow, I'm proud of you. Look what you did. That's really cool. Hey, Dad, come over here. Check this out. Just that real short dialogue makes a world of difference. It's gonna make that child go, ooh, I just got a little praise. Now, when I was doing my doctorate, there was some very disturbing research about praise versus punishment in negative terms in the home. And it was amazing. The more urban you go in the area, the more those negative comments come up, and just the more damaging it is. If you're not giving your kid at least 3 times the amount of praise you do for every negative comment that has to come out sometimes we have to reprimand them, of course. But if you're not giving them 3 times the amount of positive over that one negative, then you need to think about it. Because even if you got to force the positives and think of something to say, do it, because it's going to make a world of difference to that child. Okay. Here are some more additional tips. National Education Association also suggests send your children to school each day well rested and fed. And we know that. We know that to be true. We've been around this block long enough. But when you think about well rested, my life gets hectic at night. And I know yours does too. And I know yours does for a fact, because you got 3 kids and I've known you long enough. But we get home from elementary school, we're going to go with that, at 4 o'clock? Maybe, if we're lucky, let's say roughly 4 o'clock. There's probably at least one activity that night, so let's take an hour out of that, 5 o'clock. Let's say an hour out for a meal, 6 o'clock. An hour out for homework, 7 o'clock. Then all of a sudden, this evening is gone. So you can see how it needs to be structured. It needs to be structured all the way through, because really, in all reality, kids our age should really be in bed by 9:30. And there's research all over the place that says they need at least 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours of thorough sleep through the night. If they're not getting that, they're not firing on all cylinders. They're not at 100%. So when we say well rested, we can all say, oh yeah, of course well rested. But well rested actually is very well defined. Over 8 hours sleep, and you're considered well rested. So what would that be? Let's say your kids get up at 8 o'clock probably? No, maybe even earlier. Elementary, let's say 8 o'clock, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, midnight. That's an 8-hour day. 12, 11, 10. Now you're talking a 10-hour day. 9 o'clock, that's realistic for these little guys. And the older they get, yeah, they can take less and less time. But at our age, you're going to need that, at the elementary side, you're going to need that high end of the 8 to 10, 12 hours. Maintain a portfolio of best pieces. What do you say?
You were right at our age.
At our age, yeah. My age, I need like 13 hours, right?
Yeah.
Right. Maintain a portfolio of best pieces. This is something that my parents did when I was a child. Just fantastic. There was a drawer downstairs. I can picture when I close my eyes. There was a drawer downstairs in our big shelving unit that was probably like this. And I'd pull it out, and there was all my work. And I mean, kindergarten, preschool actually, all the way up through high school. It was all there. And that was my portfolio of best pieces. And I can't tell you, even as a child, I remember going to that drawer several times, just going, hey, let's see what I did. It's an ego booster. It really is. Even for these young kids, they like to see what they did. And they like to know that you as parents liked it enough, appreciated it enough, and valued it enough to keep it. I would hope that we would all have pictures all over our house. I've got 5 and 6 framed things all over the refrigerator. It's all their displays. It's all their work. It's really ugly sometimes. Maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't look like Levin furniture. Stepping out of there. But this is so much more important. The kids need to know that they're valued and the work that they're doing is valued. Help older students organize their assignments by recording them on calendars, to planners, due dates turned in, etc. The older kids, and I know we're all the younger side of things here, but when you get into the high school, middle school, high school age, what they need to consider is these long-term projects. And that's hard to do for anybody. To know, if I would say an assignment to you, okay, 10 weeks out from now, you've got to do this, and project. And every 2.5 weeks, I need you to turn in this, and this. Go, see you later. That's a high school and even a college level project, and that's hard to do. That's very hard to do. So we need to teach them, as the adults, how are we going to plan this out? So if something's due in 1 week, what do I have to do in 2 days? What do I have to do in 4 days? What do I have to do the day before? How do I turn it in? Then what do I do? Because this is not over yet. We've got many, many steps. Those older kids need to learn that. I think a lot of times parents forget that all because we know how to do it, and high school kids look like adults, maybe even talk like adults, and even act like adults sometimes, that doesn't mean they have all the skills to do these things yet. Somebody's got to teach them how to do it. And as the parent, we want to make sure we're that person.
I have to say, this year, Julian is the third, when they started that tracker. I don't know when they started. That is such a good, I wish they did that when I was in school.
Yeah, the tracker is nice.
So good. So, and for me and for us parents to see how they are recording things. And every now and then I say, well, let's add, I just see this note from your teacher. You guys are going to have a test like next Tuesday. Let's write that,
Absolutely.
It helps teach along for that.
Absolutely.
I wish they had that when I was
Yeah, and thank you, because you're doing the right thing as a parent, looking for it. And, chances are maybe sometimes if they're not asking for it, maybe you need to ask for it because they may not want you to read something, So it's also a good communication tool. Good, thank you. Reading homework. Have your child read aloud to you every night. This is mainly for those elementary or middle school kids, but reading is so important because, has anyone ever heard of the term metacognition? Whenever you're reading, we're doing this thing called metacognition in our head. Read a page. Ooh, I wonder what's going to happen next. Oh, don't go to that car. That's a bad idea. Ooh, I'm betting this is going to be bad at the end here. That's all metacognition. That's all inferencing. That's all thinking. What's going to happen? That's what makes reading exciting for us because we can anticipate what may or may not happen. And then all of a sudden the author gives you a twist, and you go, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." When you say, "I didn't see that coming," that means you were thinking about what could have happened. That's metacognition. That's something we have to teach kids how to do through what's called inferencing. So if you are doing that out loud whenever you're reading to the child, or if you're letting the child read to you, stop them every once in a while and go, "What do you think's going to happen?" That is so powerful because it gets their brains thinking about what could happen. Okay. Choose a quiet place, free from distractions, for your child to do his or her nightly reading assignments. As your child reads, point out spelling, sound patterns such as cat, pat, hat. Again, elementary, but these are the things that you could be pointing out to them while they're reading a book. Like we read a couple books to our child every night before he goes to bed. We all lay in bed or on the couch. We read a couple books. They're usually the younger ones for our 4-year-old, but even my older one will sit there and listen. But even when we're doing that, we're going cat, pat, hat, and we're pointing out some of these things to him. That's called teachable moments. And that's something that every parent, educator or not, doesn't matter. You need to find those teachable moments. If you're driving down the street with your boy or girl and you see an interesting word, rhyme something with that. Play rhyming games. Play all those type of things are what you call teachable moments. When your child reads aloud to you and makes a mistake, point out the word that she's missed and help her to read the word correctly. So you can help with some of that fluency and some of that diction. After your child has stopped to correct the word he has read, have him go back and reread the entire sentence from the beginning to make sure he understands what the sentence is saying. So make sure you're doubling back on those things. Ask your child to tell you in his or her own words what happened in the story. That's comprehension. So, finish the book. What happened? Tell me what happened. Okay. So you're doing it before the book. You're doing it through the book with that metacognition. And then even at the end, what happened? Tell me what happened. In your own words. We said, tell me what happened. Okay. And we're getting close to time here, so I'm going to rip through some of these a little bit more. To check your child's understanding of what he is reading, occasionally pause and ask your child questions about the characters and events, as we had said that already. Ask your child why she thinks the character acted in a certain way. Ask your child to support her answer with information from the story. Before getting to the end of a story, ask your child what he thinks will happen next and why. That's always a good one. That's that inferencing. Okay? How about some math? Encourage your child to use a daily math assignment book. The advantage of this math book, notebook type of thing, is math is very sequential. So you learn how to count the numbers, you learn how to add the numbers, you learn how to subtract the numbers, multiply, blah, 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 so forth and so on. So if you're keeping this big log and journal of all these assignments that are going on, if he'd ever get confused on, say, division, then he can always go back and look at things that have happened prior. Oh, okay, the addition part, I remember that. Multiplication part, okay. So it's almost like a reflection. You know, they can go back and look at all these things, and then help them continue moving. Follow the progress your child is making in math. Check with your child daily about their homework. If you don't understand your child's math assignment, engage in frequent communication with his or her teacher. This scares me to death because I am not good with math. And my son's going to go into middle school soon, and I'm worried about it getting hard there, let alone high school. So I'm already preparing. I've already got my feelers out. I already know the parents in this district that are good with math, but I'll be calling at night saying, I don't get this. Can you please help me? Because I want to be able to teach my child to know it, but that means I got to know it first. So I'm thinking, oh my Lord, calculus and trig and all those and algebras. So I mean, I'll be calling. I'll be calling to get some help with that stuff. But that's the trick, and the trick is to swallow your ego and to swallow your pride a little bit and say, I don't know this, and I am okay with calling Cindy and saying, Cindy, I don't know this, and I know you do. Explain it to me so I can explain it to my son.
Call Renee.
Call Renee. But you know, so it's okay to do that, and you know what? It's okay to say, I don't know this answer, but I'm going to find out for you, child. I'm going to find out how to do this so that I can explain it to you. And it's also a good idea to keep one chapter in advance too. You know, you can be looking one chapter in advance so you know what's going on. So when the child gets there, you've got the ability to help.
It's also very good to have a tutor over the summer.
Tutors over the summer are excellent. Tutors all year round are nice. Absolutely.
Yeah, we enjoy that too.
Hey, look, if your child is experiencing problems in math, contact the teacher to learn whether he or she is working at grade level and what can be done at home to help improve academic progress. Again, communicate. Request that your child's teacher schedule after-school math tutoring sessions if your child really needs help. That's what you just said. You know, you could even call the teacher. Every school district usually has a tutoring list where they can give you, and you can call people and get people to come to your home. You can meet them at the public library. There's a lot of options for how to get some extra help. Advocate with the principal for the use of research-based peer tutoring programs for math. There's a lot of bigger things out there in terms of how to do some tutoring programs for math. And there's also a lot of good, easy programs, curriculum type based math programs that teachers can use, like Touch Math and things like that at the elementary level, where, you know, we could partner with you to help you through some of those things and teach you some of those things. Use household chores as opportunities for reinforcing math learning, such as cooking and repair activities. Measurement in 3rd through 8th grade is one of the worst results on the PSSAs. Measurement. For some reason, they just don't get measurement. Time for the elementary is also bad. So think about all the things we could do at home that would help reinforce measurement and time. I mean, that's huge. You know, son, we're going to be leaving here in 15 minutes. What time's it going to be in 15 minutes? Let them figure it out. Hey, I need a 3/8 inch wrench, a 3/8 inch wrench. Bring it over to me. Dad, what's a 3/8 inch? Well, let me show you. I need a 1/4 cup of flour when I'm cooking. Well, what's the difference between a 1/4 cup and a 1/2 cup? Well, let me show you. Those are all those home-based opportunities that your teachable moments that you can just really latch on to. Try to be aware of how your child is being taught math. Don't teach strategies and shortcuts that conflict with the approach the teacher is using. My uncle was famous for this because, again, my math skills are probably not the best. And when I was in high school, I would call him many times and say, I can't get the answer. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me here. So he'd trot over and he would do it and he'd always get the right answer. But the teacher would look at it and go, how did he do that? I'm like, I don't know. Because he would use some weird, obscure, he could see it and think through it, but it was never the way the teacher wanted it done. So he was teaching me how to do this in a format that was going to blow it on the test because teachers wanted a very specific way. So when you're helping your child, even if you know how to do it a certain way, like front-end estimation versus estimation down to the 5th, different things like that. We were always taught do it to the 10th. Now they do it more to the 100th. Those type of things. Make sure you're teaching it the right way because the answer is going to be wrong, even though we were taught a different way, and that's tricky. So always be one step ahead in that book, in that text. At the beginning of the year, ask your child's teacher for a list of suggestions that will enable you to help your child with math homework. Again, the textbook itself, there's a lot of great websites out there that you can put them on, especially if they like that video game type of feel. They could be playing these video games and doing math. There's a lot of good math things out there. BrainPop.com comes to mind quickly. I know they've got a lot of good math type things out there. And you yourself, again, have to be on top of it. What if he still or she still isn't turning in the homework? What if it becomes more of a disciplinary type issue about this point? This gets into all that tough love. State clearly and assertively to your child that you expect homework to be done and turned into the teacher. Don't wait until grades come out to find out if the problem's been solved. Again, you're the adult, they're the child. You've got to be on top of it. You may need weekly contact with the teacher until the student develops new habits. Got that 28-day rotation. And this gets into a whole other topic, which is discipline. And it's a good commercial. Next Thursday, Aaron Peterson from the Allegheny Intermediate Unit is going to do a wonderful presentation on behavior, how to alter behaviors, how to do some things at home that'll really help your children. ABCs, some of us may have heard that term before, antecedent behavior and consequence, and all these great things. It's going to be a wonderful presentation, so it's worth coming to check out, especially and I'm not even talking about kids that are like major behavior problems. This can fix even the most minute of problems. You know what I mean? If your child won't sit down and do homework, these are the type of strategies you're going to be able to put into place that's going to have the kid do homework in a very stress-free manner without you losing your mind. Okay, should I reward my child? Children like to know when they've done a good job. Praise your child. Praise is always, in my world, the biggest reward. Show pride when your children do their best, no matter what grades they get. If you get a C, it's okay to get a C as long as you tried your best. If you get an A, great. If you get a B, fine too. But the key is you've done your best. You didn't slack off. Be careful about giving money or gifts as rewards. Most teachers want parents to reward students' work in other ways, such as family activities or things like that. We don't want to put a number on these grades. We'd rather do family things and all that praise. Are there benefits? The benefits are huge, and this is all, again, is based in research. These aren't just things that I came up with. This is all research-based stuff. Students, if they do their homework, it is almost guaranteed that they're going to have higher grades, test scores, better graduation rate, better school attendance, increased motivation, better esteem, lower rate of suspension, decreased use of drugs and alcohol, fewer instances of violent behavior, greater enrollment in post-secondary education. I could put that sign in front of any parent without that top heading and say, do you want these things for your kids? And I'm pretty sure they're all going to say, or at least most of them are going to say, yeah, I would like to see them have most of those. And I could say to them, there's one thing you can do for your child to make sure all those things could happen. Make them do their homework. That's pretty powerful. Teachers, yeah, we like when homework comes in. It's a good thing. Greater morale. Teaching effectiveness increases, which means if the kids are doing it, the teachers are feeling better because they see their progress as well. Job satisfaction goes up. They're happier to be here. They want to work with the children that want to work on their own. Communication, relations with the students, parents, families, community, it all improves. Community support of the schools increase because it's just that whole positive aura going on. Parents, how does it help you? Communication and relations with your children and your teachers improve. If you think that you're having a hard time working with your child, do these things and your relationship with your child is going to improve. Again, what parent wouldn't want that? Your self-esteem is going to go up because you're going to see your child do better. Education levels and skills are going to increase. Your education level and skills are going to increase. Mine are going to have to increase because I've got to learn algebra really soon, again. That makes us stronger. That makes us better. Decision-making skills become stronger because you're being more decisive. You have that tough love. You're making the decisions, and it's easier to do the more you do it. Attitude towards school and the school personnel is going to improve. The more we communicate, the more you're going to realize that we're all here for the same reason. What if your child can't do the homework? Here are some things that you can do. Get a homework friend. Find somebody in the kids' classroom for reading, math, science, social studies. Have a phone number. Have the ability to call a child in that room and say, can you help me out and tell me what the homework was? Or can you help me figure out how to do the homework? It's okay to do those things. Online homework for accuracy. Call a homework hotline. This is not just for our district. I do this at many other school districts. So some districts do have that homework hotline. Our homework here at South Park is on our website. Call the teacher at school immediately to create some sort of plan. Is there a mentor or tutor that's necessary to help them get through this tough homework time? Create a network of help for your child. I happen to know the three of us right here. Is she in third grade? All four of us here, you're in third grade too. We're all in third grade right now, all of our kids. So we could be a network right here. Real quickly, I'm out of time. I'm sorry, but I want to blow through this real fast. Here are some really cool things you could do at home with your children to help them link in some of those memory tools. Mnemonics, home, a rat in Tom's house might eat Tom's ice cream. There's ways to remember certain things. For example, Ben Franklin, inventions, bifocals, catheter, long arm pole, lightning rod, odometer, stove. Those are the things that he's invented. So let's think of a real quick mnemonic that we can do with that. Here's one. Ben could latch lightning onto stars. The B is the bifocals. Get it? How that works? The mnemonics. Create them for your kids. Think FACE. Those are the spaces on the staff. What are the HOMES? That was the Great Lakes. And what's the one for the star, for the planets? There's one for the lineup of the planets. You guys remember that? Anybody remember that one? Music. This one's one of my favorites because it's one of those things that you have no idea how powerful this is. I'm going to prove it to you right now. And it's kind of fun. You and I have done this already. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're all going to say our ABCs together. You ready? Go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. But now I'll prove to you that we will probably always say it based on Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star because we learned 26 unrelated sounds and symbols way back in kindergarten. 26 unrelated sounds and symbols, and we expect these kids to learn them, memorize them, and know what they are. The way we did it, we put it to rhythm, and you still know it to this day. I'm 40, so 40 years later, I still do it, and I'll prove it to you. Now say it with me in this pattern. We're going to do them in beats of 3. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U. Let's try it. Ready? Have fun. 1, 2, ready, go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Feels weird, doesn't it? Because we never learned it in that rhythm. Because we only know this based on Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Try it in 2. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. That feels weird too, doesn't it? That's because we've learned it based on a rhythm. That's the power of music. If you learn something in a rhythm, or if you learn something to a musical line, you will never, ever forget it. And chances are, you'll have to remember it by using it, just like we do with Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and the ABCs. Rhymes and raps, rhythms and raps are great ways to do that. Graphic organizers are also a wonderful thing. Try to make the invisible visible to them. If there's an abstract concept out there, get it on paper. There's a lot. If you go on a website, there are just millions and millions of different types of graphic organizers out there on the net. Make learning fun. It's okay to have fun with it. Play games with it. Like I was saying, out on the road, doing the cooking. Those are all fun things. Your kids are going to love it. This, again, will be out on the website, but these are all the various citations that I use to create the presentation. So you can always look at these and read deeper into this stuff, but that's just showing you that this was all based on research. This is all stuff that's legitimate stuff, not just life according to me. It's the real deal. But feel free to go out and read all that stuff. They're all fantastic websites. They're fantastic books and articles and all kinds of different things. And this is so important. From Thomas Edison, who was quite a genius of himself, and he said this: a genius is just a talented person who does his homework. Isn't that powerful? Okay. That's it. It's 7:35. I kept